seconds left. Boston only has a 1-point lead.
Greer's putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and
Havlicek steals it. Over the sand goes. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek is being mobbed by the fans. Bill Russell wants to grab Havlicek. He hugs him. He squeezes John Havlicek. The Celtics win it. 110 to 109.
Good afternoon. It is May 1st, 2019. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by William Meadows and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? I just wanted to let you know, wanted to let the listeners know, Friday, LaShawn McCoy spoiled Avengers for all of his fans. Real jerk move. I'm not sure exactly if you realize what he did. Kind of hard not to realize it, but both the Avengers as well as the big Game of Thrones episode, I will not be spoiling either of those, mostly because I haven't watched either of those. But I know in the time between Thursday of last week and coming up this week, I have been lucky and haven't run across anything really too much with the Avengers. But it seems like every podcast, whether it's been basketball across platforms, has mentioned something Game of Thrones. So I don't really watch the show, but I definitely know what happened in the last episode. But I won't tell anybody on this episode.
Yeah, don't do that.
Spoiler free.
Spoiler free. It is a true obstacle right now. It is funny. It feels like a millennial kind of problem or whatever, a younger generation problem right now, where the worst thing you can worry about in your life right now is a spoiler showing up on your social media. We just so naturally just scroll through everything, and it'll just catch your eye, and you'll be like, oh no, there it is. I actually just saw Avengers yesterday. And, while we're kind of on the topic, I won't ruin the movie or anything, but just as a heads up, it's 3 hours and 1 minute long. And I'm not saying it feels long, but it is long. It's just going to take up some portion of your day, plus some previews. So I don't want to really talk the movie too much. It was great. I'm fully satisfied with it. I think it answered every question and maybe even some more. There's like 12 different stories within one movie. That's about all I will talk about. What I do want to talk about, and I do want to talk to some of the listeners about this, can we establish maybe some standard movie theater etiquette? All right, 3-hour movie here. Maybe you need to plan ahead a little bit. All right, maybe don't order the big gulp on the way in because you're not going to make it, which I've never been in a movie where so many people had to get up. It happened like 3 times right in my row. 3 guys got up and came right back. And it's the worst thing ever. For me, it's just so distracting. The cell phone thing is 10 times as worse, though. And that happened with some old man dad, I'm guessing, that had his kids in a row in front of us, was on his phone playing a little golf game, like the entire movie. It just drove me nuts. He's playing a game. He's playing like the little golf game. What is it called? I don't remember what it's called. But he's on the game. He's playing like a game, Golf Clash. I've played it before. And I'm watching him play, and I know exactly what he's doing. And it's not even messaging anybody. It's not even an emergency, because I was kind of going to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. If you're checking your phone for some sort of emergency, or maybe you're just trying to be a responsible adult or a businessman or who knows what. But if you're just playing a Golf Clash during the movie, you're going to upset me a little bit. And I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to ruin the movie for me either. So what is the proper etiquette here? I feel like these are obvious things right now, but do we have any tips for the listeners? You go to the movies. You watch a lot of movies. What would you say? What would you recommend for people? And what would you have done in my situation?
It's such a tricky spot to be in because you're a captive audience, and so you're kind of creating conflict. It's not your fault, but it's like everyone just kind of has to deal with it, unfortunately, because if you say something and he says something back to you, and it's dark, you can't really see who's talking to you. So it's like, is this some kid talking to me, or is this another adult? But you can't really see. And so maybe he says something flippant back to you, and then you say something, and now you're creating a disturbance in the whole area. And now someone else yells at you, not really realizing what's going on, that you're kind of trying to help everybody out with this guy on the phone, and thinks that you're just making noise. And I think it can turn into a medium-sized situation.
So basically, I did the
quick.
right thing. It's just a crappy situation. Like, nobody's going to be happy with it. The other thing is I went to go see the 11 o'clock showing, and it was sold out. I had to wait an extra half hour for the 11:30. So and that one filled up, too. Like, it's a crowded theater. This guy's all the way in the end, and I'm kind of towards the end as well. I'm sitting with another friend, and he's doing it right in front of me, and it's like I could see everything over his shoulder. We're the row right behind him. I could see everything. I just couldn't believe he was playing a game. Like he couldn't wait for it.
The only thing I can see is, I guess, you said it was like an old man dad kind of thing of he wanted no interest in going to this, and he's going with his kids, and so that's why. But you would think an adult would understand, like, just sit and watch the movie. Like, this is one of the times you just have to sacrifice being a dad. It seems like the reverse. If you were at some sort of event and your kid was playing on the phone, it was distracting people. You would never allow that.
Never. And obviously they didn't realize I don't know. Maybe I'm not a super fan, but I've watched all the movies, so there was obviously a certain amount of value in this movie for me. So like we spent money on it too. Like it's not. There's just a million reasons to be upset with this, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what I'm frustrated about this. I don't know how you fix this, and I don't want to be the guy that has to go get the staff either. I don't want to tattletale. I don't want to be a rat on anything. I just don't want a guy to do that. I just don't do that, right?
Well, plus too, then if you go talk to somebody, now you've missed.
I'll miss in the
at
movie.
Least 15 minutes of the movie. It's you said you went to the 11 o'clock showing, so it's already super late. So it's after midnight.
Oh, we're in the morning. No, we're in the morning.
That's what I mean. You're after midnight. So there not gonna be any more showings going on. So who's ever working there, it's probably just like one person out there keeping an eye on concessions. They might not even be able to leave, depending on if people are buying stuff. Or it's like, hey, I got to focus on this. And then even if you get them in there, like now this guy's gonna be like looking at you, and who's to say that the guy comes in, you actually do point out the right guy in the dark if you can find your way back to your seat, because that's always an issue for me going into the theaters mid movie, especially a movie like the Avengers, like a superhero movie where it can be super dark. When I walked into Black Panther, I went like a little late, and it's already started, and I had to wait until I feel like it was 10, 15 minutes before it wasn't like a super dark scene. And then that guy he's gonna be right back on his phone. Like some movie theater security guy slaps him on it's not even a slap on the wrist.
That's not a fun thing for him to do either. The staff. I don't think the staff particularly enjoys going in. Yeah, that's not something they're gonna be like, oh God, I gotta go do this.
I'm sure they've been slammed all weekend. So they've already been busting butt more than normal. They really don't want anything extra. No, it's just a crappy situation. It's just people on their phones, people talking. I don't think there's really a ton you can do, and you gotta hope for the best.
All that being said, it still was a great movie. I would recommend everybody see it. If you've seen all the other movies and you've seen them in recent time, it's really, really cool how they kind of wrap a lot of stuff together, and they go back to and reference a whole bunch of stuff, which Marvel is known for, but this movie in particular really, really takes that to another level of just referencing a lot of old stuff and wrapping up everything as neatly as they can. And I promise you, if you have an expectation of thinking what happens, that doesn't happen. It kind of blew my mind of all of it. And it's still funny. It's still a superhero movie. They do play the line very, very well of a drama comedy and a superhero movie all in one. So they did a really good job, and I'm happy with it. I don't know if anyone else or everyone else is happy with it, but I think the reviews generally have been perceived mostly positive at the moment. But you said you're going to go see it hopefully this weekend at some point?
Yeah. My plan is to I got Friday off, is to go see it on Friday afternoon. It has been a little daunting, the 3 hour. It's only 1 hour more than, I say, maybe an hour and a half more than a regular movie, but it really has stopped me this past weekend of going to see it on just well, do I have like a little bit of time? Well, I got a little bit of time. I don't know if I got like 4 hours, like to get to the movie theater, watch the movie theater, and then to get to what I got to do. So it has been a little bit. I'm glad I knew ahead of time. But with me, I've pushed it a week, and so I realize I'm at risk. It's a little bit of my own fault. But how long? Like you saw opening weekend. How long are you going to give before you're not going to be super concerned? You'll post something on Facebook. You'll make a comment out in public. You won't like immediately tell someone, hey, spoiler alert, before before you go into something.
I think I'm just going to continue to tell everyone what I was told, and that's that Batman comes and saves the day. and it makes no sense at all. But I think it's just the funniest thing ever of being like, oh no, does he really? Because everyone's expecting some wild thing to happen, and that is kind of the degree of wild things that do happen in the movie. But trust me, Batman comes and saves the day. You got to go see it. It's awesome. And it's Christian Bale Batman too. It's must see. It's
Of course.
Speaking of, I guess not being very happy about things. Are we sick and tired of the Rockets at this point? Like I'm ready to do an entire analysis on Chris Paul's entire career at this point. Like I have no sympathy for the Rockets. I don't know why the NBA is so. I don't even know if they're lenient at this point or why they're even putting up with it. For those of you who haven't watched the NBA playoffs this far, the Rockets are facing the Warriors again, and there's so much to unwrap here. All right, first of all, there was an audit, I guess, of last year's 2018 playoff game where there was just it was a close game. It was a close game. I'll say that. And is Chris Paul even playing this game? I don't even remember. I don't know why we're even talking about this. Chris Paul's hurt, right? He's not even in this game. So I already felt like that was the reason they lost. You could point fingers at so many other things, but the fact that they feel robbed and they feel like the NBA is so against this.
The 0 for 27 from 3 stretch they had, maybe that part.
Oh yeah, you need to score to win games. I didn't know that. I thought that was a non-championship requirement. I thought you could win championships without that. But this all being said, there was a ton of controversy about this landing space and how to contest people on the three. And, Harden is already a very forceful player in the fact that he's able to create contact and make a huge emphasis on getting fouled, which in some cases he's not even really being fouled. A lot of the contact is being forced by him. So I think that's already kind of been known. People know that. Then you factor in his step back, is it a travel? Is it not a travel? It looks like a travel. And it's like now these guys are going to complain about additional rules. Like how much these guys are going to complain about anything. I feel like if they won, they would complain. I don't think these guys will just ever be happy. There's just these type of people that want something to say, that need to say something to say, that really are just looking for an excuse because they haven't really had the success they want. Can I say it any better than that? I feel like that's exactly it right now. Is there anything else? Am I missing something here?
I think that just compartmentalizing. I'm butchering that word. Just putting it just on the Rockets is too small. This is something that's been growing and it's getting worse and worse. And it's one of the worst things about basketball is the arguing. And not just in the NBA. So this is not an old man. Oh, these young guys now, all they do is yell at the referees. It happens in pickup. Is there anything worse than a guy gets fouled and then the other guy says, no, I didn't foul you. And then you, as someone that's trying to play in the game, but just have to listen to these guys argue back and forth. And then maybe you get the game started and then they're still just jawing back and forth. It's like, I just want to keep playing. The referees, they're not trying to screw your team over. That just doesn't make sense. As a fan, you definitely felt that way, but you gotta take a step back. It's like, no, they're gonna make wrong calls. Basketball, there's a lot of 50-50 calls. A lot of calls that could be made, a lot of calls that couldn't be made, depending on your perception of the rule, of actually being able to see the play. The angle that we have on TV is totally different. But I didn't get to watch much of last night's game. It started pretty late, so this is mostly on the game one. It just seemed like every single play on both sides, it was just complaining about something. It's like, it's basketball. You're going to get some contact. If you jump on a jump shot and you're going forward and the guy contesting you is jumping the other way, there's going to be a little bit of contact. And it was just annoying. And I know it's been a number of years now, but they started at the beginning of the year. They really wanted to get rid of this. And so what they did was, basically, if you went to go talk to the referee, you got teed up. And it kind of got, it was a little over the top, and it was, I think they tried to reel it back in, but they just kind of went away from it because it was just too many technical fouls. But there's got to be some sort of a solution. And I don't know if maybe you got to just tee them up all the time. It's really hard in the playoffs because you have that limit.
But
But
that's good though. That's how you fix this. All right, I almost feel like they need to have two different kinds of technical fouls. Like we need to have like an emotional technical where it's like, all right, clearly things aren't going your way. All right, your team's getting their ass kicked right now, and you're frustrated with a variety of reasons, and you need to take it out on something, and you shouldn't take it out on the ref. But I feel like in those cases, it's like even the refs understand I have to tee you up, but this isn't that. But I feel like these guys, they're just straight up complaining. Like do you see that there is a bit of a difference in that though? Like I don't even think that Harden and Chris Paul at times are really even trying to win. I just feel like they're trying to get the call. Like their primary focus is not on making the shot anymore. It's on getting the call. And it's not an emotional frustration of anything. It is just a determination.
oh, I think I think a bunch of it is just it's a calculated. It's okay. I know if I complain X amount of times, X plus one time, I will most likely get a call in my favor. And maybe that's the issue is that, if I'm at work and I keep getting yelled at, it, like sooner or later, like, it kind of just it wears you down. So I could see just from a human nature of okay, but with it being both sides, it's just annoying. It's not gonna stop me. It's not gonna make me boycott, but it's just annoying to watch when it just seems like it's every play. I get once in a while you're super upset, but there's no balance. There's no flip side to the other side of, hey, you know what? That was a good call. Like, yo, I definitely got beat on that crossover and I reached in and hit his arm. Maybe you just don't hear it. Maybe you just don't see it on the TV. But I would like there to be less complaining.
Well, actually, it is really funny that you bring that up, and it's even funnier the player that brought up these comments. Did you see what Draymond Green had to say about last night's game? Did you? Hold on.
I overheard something about I just kind of I think I saw a quick headline about like I'm glad that both teams kind of put aside the referees to just focus on basketball or something.
Yeah, Draymond said it's kind of embarrassing for the game of basketball of how much has been talked about our fouls and officiating. He gave both sides credit, said the Warriors and Rockets for focusing on the game instead of the refs. I just can't. You know what? I give him credit for somebody saying that, and I feel like there would have been a time and a place in a player to say something like that. Like, you know what? All right, I know we had our frustrations last game, but today everyone came to play. It was good competition out there. We weren't sure what the outcome was going to be, but it felt like the outcome was determined by the players. But Draymond Green, I'm sorry, he's lost his card to say something like that. I don't think he's the wrong guy. I feel like he's almost mocking what he's saying at the same time. It feels like a complete troll move by him. And maybe that's just because
be interested to
it's just
to,
because
to see that or hear the audio because it does seem like you see the headline and then it's like, wait, did you say this with a straight face or is this tongue in cheek? Because this for sure seems like a little bit of a joke.
I heard the audio and he says it pretty seriously, and I think he was doing his best to sound as genuine as possible. The problem is, it's just we know the history of him, and he does open his mouth frequently, and he is an emotional guy, and I think we know all that. I think even his teammates know that. But he's lost the card and the ability to convince me that that's actually how he's feeling and thinking at the moment. He's not the right guy to do it. Now, if Curry has said it, or maybe even Clay, or just pretty much anybody but Draymond, I might have taken it a little bit more seriously and been like, all right, I don't know what it's like on the court. I'm only watching outside looking in. I don't know what it's in the locker room. I don't know what it's like back and forth between all that. I know Harden got hit in the eye yesterday, and it looked like Draymond and them were okay after. They kind of gave themselves like, oh, are you all right? You all right? Like that. Which is cool. Like I don't think anybody really wants anybody to get hurt. They just don't want the other team to win. And that's great. That's competition. That's why we play. That's why we watch it. We want to see two best teams go at each other and give their best shot and try to win a basketball game. But too many times it just feels like that's in the back burner for the Rockets, that they just don't have any interest in this. And they don't move on either. That's what I hate. It's just every game, it feels like it's based on what went wrong yesterday and how can we use that to our advantage of today versus there's no adjustments. They didn't make any adjustments. They just keep assuming, well, we keep playing this way and we keep complaining about it. Maybe it'll work this time. It just seems like a very unsuccessful route to doing anything in life. Of just doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different result.
Chris Paul's been doing this for a long time. He did this on the Clippers. This was a known thing. So this is not anything new, but yeah. I just hope that it just kind of calms down. And I definitely I think the Rockets are taking the brunt of it with Harden kind of leading the way, but it's not just an only Houston.
Real quick, while we're on the topic of Chris Paul, he's been in the league for a while right now. I think a lot of players and a lot of people respect him as a basketball player, but the guy's never really had a whole bunch of success, specifically in the playoffs. Individually, he's been great. He's done some incredible things, individually. And I know he's a great passer. He does a lot of good stuff, a tough, hard-nosed defender. Do you think if Chris Paul had any success, because it feels like it's gotten worse over the years. Like, it's just slowly gotten worse and worse. Like, the monster within him has grown into just a complaining animal that's just not fun to watch. And it's really just hard to root for. Do you think if he'd had any success that this development would have maybe slowed down and he wouldn't be as annoying to watch as he is right now? Or do you think this is just inevitable? This is just really who he is and how he's always going to be?
This is just who he is. Look how much Draymond Green has won, and look how Draymond did. Draymond's still racking up technicals and because part of it is I think it's kind of either perceived or actual that when he does these kind of things, it gets his team going or he sticks up for his team, and so it makes him a better teammate. But I think this is who Chris Paul is, and I think more getting older is just more realizing what to say to the officials to like get right up to the line of not quite getting a technical, to like the cost benefit analysis of getting favorable calls down the way. And I think that it's just he's getting older. He's just knows he's more established in the league. He's become more and more famous as it's gone along, and just knows like, you don't want to kick stars out. You don't. It's not good really for anybody that if Chris Paul gets kicked out of a game or if he gets suspended because he's still a top talent. So I think that it just it has to do with Chris Paul and getting older and not so much with whether he had or didn't have success.
Well, all I know, and this is just an assumption right now, and I feel like I'm being a little hard on the guy, but at some point this guy's got to look in the mirror and realize there's one common factor in a lot of these losses, and it's him either not being healthy or not coming through when they need him. I'm sure every single referee in the league right now has Chris Paul's retirement game circled on their calendar. All right, trust me, there's going to be some champagne popping for a lot of these guys out there that can't wait for this guy to no longer be in the league. But let's not focus on all that. Let's move on to something else that is also being shut down, and it looks like ESPN magazine has played or has maybe put out their last magazine. When is this looking to be done? Is this wrapped up already? Or are we going to finish 2019?
In 2019, in September, the body issue will be the last print version of the ESPN the magazine. So kind of end of an era there.
Are there no more swimsuit magazines? Are we done with that too? Well, that's Sports Illustrated. As far as
I see,
that's Sports Illustrated.
That's Sports Illustrated. That's different.
ESPN did the kid one too, right? Wasn't there ESPN Kids?
Sports Illustrated for kids.
Sports Illustrated for kids. Yeah, I see. This is how much I don't care about ESPN magazines. I'm already associating with two other things that are significantly better. I don't know how much. Can we get rid of ESPN Plus too on the insider stuff? Is there nothing worse than getting these text message alerts about, hey, don't find out the behind the scenes of the Celtics locker room, and then you click on it and they give you 3 lines, and they want the ESPN Insider membership.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because part of being an insider, which I believe Insider and ESPN Plus are different. But they might all go together. But ESPN Insider, part of the perk of having that was you got ESPN the magazine. And I saw somebody say something like, "Oh yeah, ESPN the magazine, the tax that you got in the mail to just throw right into the garbage of having ESPN Insider." So it's not surprising that it's happening. It was just some news that I saw of it's the finality of it, of ESPN the magazine is no longer going to be around, and all the arguments are exactly what you'd expect. Changing trends, people are reading things digitally. There's really no need to send out a magazine with month-old information, and it had a good run. It was definitely cool as a kid. Before you're like on the internet and you had all the they didn't really have so much posters, but I mean ESPN magazine was really big. It's bigger than Sports Illustrated. So even just a one page of something you could pull out, and it was like a smaller poster, but it was bigger than a 8.5 by 11 normal kind of size piece. So that was always cool if there was a athlete that you were into, just a kind of a free poster.
I feel like LeBron's like big debut, like high school thing, it was on the cover of ESPN magazine. Like I think that was the news breaking, like the groundbreaking news. Like you got it from, I think it was ESPN the magazine cover. I could be wrong. That's probably the most significant ESPN magazine cover I can recall right now. I mean, I'm sure there's a number of other things. I mean, it's been around for a very, very long time.
The body issues that they did, that was pretty groundbreaking, and is still very, very unique, and not exactly competing with the swimsuit issue, but just the idea of putting athletes with no clothes just to kind of get an idea of how different athletes look. Like when they had Prince Fielder.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
you don't remember him. It's just a very, very large first baseman on the first baseman playing baseball. I think he played for the Pirates for a while, but I'm not. No, it was the Milwaukee Brewers. Played for them for a while.
Yeah, that sounds
just like,
right.
This is what an athlete looks like.
Oh man, yeah,
different from these other athletes, but
some things you can't unsee. I'm gonna do everyone a favor here, and I'm not gonna post that on the website. But make sure you do check out the website, lcalcb.com. Go check out all the old podcasts. Check out the bio about Zach and I. Lots of good stuff on there. Anything else to go with the ESPN magazine? Otherwise, I'm gonna transition into the exciting things we got going on this weekend.
Go for it.
Well, coming up this weekend, stay tuned. Check out the website for all this stuff. It's coming up. Jackie Moon is coming to town, and he's going to be playing pickup basketball. And by that, I mean I got to dress up as Jackie Moon and hand out corn dogs this Saturday morning while playing pickup basketball. It's all going down. It's all lined up. I don't know where I'm going to get the corn dogs yet. I don't know if I'm going to buy corn dogs from like Sonic or Wiener Schnitzel or somewhere else, or if I'm going to buy just like a packet of like the frozen ones and like make them the morning of or whatever. So there's a couple details there that need to be figured out, but the costumes ordered, it's unfortunately fits very well. I was kind of hoping it would be like super baggy or boxy and be like, all right, there's no way I can play in this, but sadly it fits very well. It's a full uniform. We got the headbands, we got the wig, we got the jersey, the shorts, and the shorts are. It says one size fits all, so I really thought the shorts were going to be like, I feel like I'm a smaller, like below average person, so I thought the shorts are going to be big. I'll be fine. No problem. Yeah, they're not very big. They're just as short as the last ones. The only difference is my legs will not be shaved this time. Of which everyone's going to find out that all the hair that grew back all screwed up now, and now you're going to have to see it. It's almost like I'm doubling down on the loss of last year, where I had to shave my legs and play in short shorts. But I'm excited, and maybe other people will be excited. Maybe other listeners will be excited for this, I don't know, disaster of an event that you know what, it's really just educating me on, maybe you should make wiser bets right now. Maybe I should do less things involving my legs. It's not exactly my best attribute. My voice is probably one of my top ones, and yeah, my legs are pretty far down on the list. But definitely go check out the website. We'll have it up on YouTube on there. Go check out Little Column A, Little Column B on YouTube. And then check out Zach's Twitter. I'm sure he'll have some stuff on there, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Yeah.
All Jackie Moon all the time.
All Jackie Moon. Corn dogs for everybody. So that'll be this weekend. I'm kind of excited for that. Got a busy weekend, though. We're doing an open house this Saturday as well. I'll make sure to go check out soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs and get everything you need to know about this open house coming up. Big news. I'm excited about it, man. It's a $1 million home coming up. So that'll be exciting to do all that, and then hanging out with some buddies after watching the games. Speaking of
Kentucky Derby's on Saturday too. Get your bets in.
I don't know. I would like to talk about some gambling, but I feel like that's not my strength right now. So let's talk about something that other people are struggling with as well, and that is the NFL draft. I know this is a little bit of a dated thing to talk about on the podcast, but we can't not talk about the Giants, right? We're Patriot fans. I think we have to talk about this, and especially that the quarterback they drafted. I think he plays point guard for Duke, right? That's the guy they got, or does he just play quarterback at Duke? I don't know. I
think they would have been better off drafting Zion.
They might have. I think people would have been happier in New York. It was the number 6 pick overall. They took the I don't even know his name. It was the Duke quarterback, who very well could just be a really good quarterback. I just think drafting him there didn't seem like the wisest position. And they mentioned they had some concerns that somebody else was going to take him. I think the funniest thing in all this is that the Patriots had interest in all this. And I think once the Patriots start showing interest on somebody, I think most of the league kind of whispers around like, hey, maybe we'll take this guy a little early because, somehow good players always fall to the Patriots. So anyone they're interested in, it's not a sure thing, but maybe they're onto something. They tend to get lucky a lot, and I just think that's exactly more or less of what happened. I don't know if it was specifically the Patriots, but I kind of feel bad for the kid. Do you feel bad for him?
It does seem like it's going to be a whole bunch of pressure. I mean, Eli is there right now, but it seems like none of the fans are really on board. It seems like none of the experts. I haven't seen really one person that isn't very clearly just trying to stick out from the crowd to be like, you know what, I think this might be a good pick. Like all the kind of first gut reactions are all, wait, what? Like at 6, like they had a pick at 17. Like probably could have got him there, and I don't even know if I would have reached for him there. Like kind of not even in the top 100. Anthony Bennett kind of situation of just huh? And you and I kind of talked about a little bit of, yep, Patriots are kind of interested. Did we sort of send up a smoke screen and maybe cause some interest? And that would be fun. I don't know. I don't remember Daniel Jones really like being crazy good this year. At Duke, who they've been a little better at football than in past years, but for sure not a powerhouse. Like a Oklahoma or an Alabama or anything. And just I feel like a guy that goes that high, you just would have heard some more buzz. So
I think so. Do you feel bad? I do feel bad for him. I think it's an unfair expectation right now. This guy, he may be talented and he may be good. I think that's the one thing that nobody's really considering is the scenario where this guy may actually be good. Whether he'll be good as fast as a number 6 pick normally would. Like that's the other thing is if you get drafted later, you get more time, you get more leadway, you get a longer leash. And he might have had success with a longer leash. I think on such a short leash at number 6, it's going to be really hard to overcome these expectations. He may be 2-3 years down the road or away from of being a starter, and it feels like this guy may get thrown into the fire way too early, and we've seen this happen so many times, specifically in Cleveland, where they're just like, I don't care. We're gonna find our guy right now. He's either it or not it, and there's no grooming, there's no training, there's no nothing. You just get thrown into all this, and I think that's just so unfair for the guy. But at the same time, he got drafted by a New York team. He's got a chance to prove something. I wish him nothing but success, but man, it's gonna be tough, and it's not gonna be an easy ride. I don't even know how we filter Eli out. I don't. They just seem like such a mess, and it makes me so happy that the Giants are struggling with this kind of stuff. But maybe he'll be good.
Just to move on to to another team in the draft, you're talking about getting burned right away. Josh Rosen was a top quarterback pick last year, and this year at the trade he's getting traded, and they're drafting somebody else. So life comes at you fast. So maybe he's better off where he is. And I've heard some jokes that Gettleman, the GM there, well, the reason he drafted this guy was now the leash on Eli's longer. You draft someone that everyone's really on board with the first time Eli throws a pick. Oh, let's get the new guy in. Let's get the new guy. I don't know if he's right. I don't know if he's right. And now it seems like Daniel Jones, like, maybe, you know what? Keep Eli in there. Like, we're not gonna get super excited about this guy.
It's gotta be. There's gotta be more to all these stories of just what's going on within each organization, and the reason that like certain teams don't play well with one another, they don't want to make deals and all that. I think there's certainly history involved between certain teams and coaches and all that, and in trying to make deals happen. Because we watch all this stuff happen, and we all feel like, we play fantasy. We understand what's a good trade or just a normal negotiation in any part of our lives. I think a lot of people are familiar in doing that, and certain careers require certain things like that. And it's kind of baffling when we see that it's just shooting from the hip. Like everything's just gone. There's no logic based on any of this. It's amazing to watch it happen on such a professional level, of which we know so much information outside. These guys probably know even more on the inside, and it makes even less sense. I,
The only thing that I can think of is you got to think the GM is doing a job, and say he drafts D lineman. Actually, it makes sense. Right after Daniel Jones was Josh Allen from Kentucky, not the Josh Allen that's the quarterback from 2 years ago. It's a little confusing, but so everyone expected him to go even higher. He kind of slipped a little bit down to 7. But let's say that Gettleman drafts him. So D lineman kind of heard of him, but not really. And he does pretty well. He doesn't change the franchise. And so some of it, just I think of it as gambling of, okay, do I bet on I'm probably going to win this, but, I only get if I bet $100, I only win $100. Or do I bet on this long shot, but if I bet, $100, I could win $1,000. And it's just hey, this is my job right now. I'm under contract. If they fire me, I still get paid. So you know what? I'm gonna take some big swings, and I'm not gonna be middle of the road. Either he's gonna be really good, and I am gonna be the savior, and I'm gonna be the savant, and everyone's gonna have to bow down to me because everyone said I was wrong. Or in a few years, everyone goes, oh yeah, he was wrong, and yeah, he gets fired, and he's on doing something else. He's still a multimillionaire, and maybe it's just kind of a gambling approach.
Yeah, I think 6 is just too close to take that much of a chance. I mean, I think you can get a very good quality player, certainly a safer one. I mean, I think you just found the solution right there of what they could have done. And I get it. I just think 6 is really close on bordering taking a chance like that. I think a lot of teams would love to have a top 6 pick, and they had it, and they've played as if they were the 12th pick. But, whatever. I think what other story I want to talk about is Pete Carroll is a child, and I say that in the nicest way possible. I mean, this man is, he's got to be like, what, 70-something years old? How old is Pete Carroll? Do you have any idea? We've talked about this before.
He's a lot older than you think.
He certainly
maybe
doesn't
not
act
what you
it.
just threw out there, but it's always like you look at it, he's like, he's not that old, and then you see the number, it's like, wait, what? He's 67.
So they draft what was it, a Metcalf in the draft. It was one of the higher picks, or I think it was a higher pick. Anyways, there's a video.
Receiver.
There's a video of him essentially walking into the room and meeting Pete Carroll. I think it was the next day, and he doesn't have a shirt on, which I don't know why he doesn't have a shirt on. But
have you seen pictures of this dude?
All right, yeah, all right. I understand when you have something. Yeah, when you're in that kind of physical condition, you can never wear a shirt, and nobody's ever gonna have a problem with it. I just thought it was kind of weird that this is how he's meeting. I just thought it would be somewhat a little bit more professional.
Yeah, it was a little weird because where he is, they're in like a conference room.
Yeah,
it's like looking over Pete Carroll's shoulder. So you're right. Yeah, it's not exactly. I'm assuming it's at the facility, but maybe it's not. But just from with no context, it's just like, why is this guy in a meeting with no shirt on? This is out of the ordinary.
So that felt out of the ordinary. But Pete Carroll loved it so much that this guy came in super fit, real excited. He says, "Welcome to the Seahawks," blah blah blah. And he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna take off my shirt." And Pete Carroll takes off his shirt because he's like all pumped up and jacked up because this guy's here now. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, of just somebody being so excited for this young kid just got drafted to come join this organization, and he was more or less making him comfortable, because I think he might have gotten a little uncomfortable for all the reasons we just talked about, of maybe I should have wore a shirt to this room or in this meeting right now. And Pete Carroll was like, no, screw that. You're on this team. We want you here. You need to be yourself. And if I got to do this to make you more comfortable, I'm on board. I just thought that was such a cool, supportive thing by a coach. He does little things like this all the time.
I thought it was more on the other side. And from the video, like I said, it's kind of over Pete Carroll's right shoulder. See, you can't really see his face when Metcalf's kind of walking in. But I thought it was more of he was razzing him, like, "Hey, you're walking in here with no shirt on right now. You know how goofy that is. I'm gonna take my shirt off to show you how goofy this is." Because he puts his shirt on again real quick, and then right at the end of the video, he just has this look over his shoulder at the camera with just this little bit of a wry smile that that just made it. He's like, I knew exactly what I was doing, and I'm just kind of razzing the guy a little bit. But maybe it was a combination of both. And it definitely wasn't mean spirited at all. I just
very,
hey, I'm
very fun moment either way, and I think it was just really cool to get to see. These guys are human at the end of the day. It was a very humanized moment of new guy meeting new guy, and everybody knows a lot about both of them, but they didn't know each other, So this was kind of the introduction of it. So I thought that was a cool thing. There's a whole bunch of takeaways from the draft, but I really don't care about the draft too much. I feel like I watched way too much of it. It's something that I could probably read the next day or a month later on ESPN magazine, and it would do the same thing as me watching it live. There's no real treat or reward in watching it all the day of. I think it gets way too much hype and way too much attention. Maybe I feel that way, but I don't know. The Patriots did well. At least I feel like we do well. Whenever we have a bunch of picks, I always feel like we do well. Let the magician go to work here. Right? The more tools you give him, the more picks he's got, the more stuff he can do. But speaking of,
I didn't watch. I didn't watch any of it.
You see, you didn't miss anything.
I get the appeal. Definitely for the NBA draft. Like I'll watch almost all the NBA draft. It's obviously much shorter. More plugged into college basketball, so it's not only who the Celtics are going to pick or where the guys from Duke are going. It's just the other guys that are just immersed in college basketball. Just like, oh yeah, oh no, yeah, I remember that guy. He had that crazy game against Maryland in December. Oh yeah, oh that's cool. He's going to Charlotte or something along those lines. But football, the pool is just so much bigger, and just with the Patriots, just how much success that they've been having. It's not as much of a like a holiday. Or it's like all this anticipation, all this hope. It's like, well, we got Tom Brady and we got Belichick, so this stuff's just all going to take care of itself, and it's not nearly as exciting as we're coming off a Super Bowl. Like,
yeah. It's much more exciting to watch the combine.
This isn't going to get me as excited.
It's a lot more exciting to watch the combine. And you know what? While we're kind of like the topic of that, can we talk about this high school kid that ran like a sub 10 100 meter? The track guy from what was it, Williamsburg? You know the guy's name?
No, it wasn't Williamsburg. That was a.
No, it wasn't Williamsburg. Sorry, that's the other
guy.
One. Anyway,
yeah, runs a sub 10. It says it's in all weather. So I think, and I'm not positive, but that might mean that there might have been a little bit of a wind to help him, because it seemed to be that there might have been an advantage. He definitely takes off way ahead of the field, and anything even close to that said that time would have been a qualifier for the Olympics. But yeah, men's 100 meter under 10 seconds is just blazing fast.
Out of curiosity, do you know what second place was for that? It seemed like a very intense race. Like, I don't think he was like the only like good runner there. It seemed like everyone else was okay too. But on average, nobody's running anywhere near that, right? And he was steps.
No one was
guys.
close to him, and especially this was high school. Like if not a regular guy, but if an Olympic athlete ran this time, like it kind of like, whoa, okay, like that's respectable. But it's a high school kid, and just usually like at that age, you're just not as developed and haven't had the time to make everything work, both on training and weightlifting, and a lot of the 100 meter, it's like getting out of the blocks and just technique.
So you think he got lucky? You think he can do it again? We're gonna know this guy for a while now, future Olympian here.
I heard that Usain Bolt's getting nervous and he's coming out of retirement.
Oh, no, Usain Bolt's not nervous. Let him play in any run in any other condition. I bet he could run that right now.
Yeah, his name is Matthew. I'm not sure if it's Bowling or Balling. Boling.
Let's go with balling, because I think he's balling right now. That's an incredible time. I'll make sure to post the video on there.
I was correct. They were talking about the all weather. It is in a high school senior who ran a wind-aided 100-meter dash, which still.
I mean,
you can put all the sorts of wind behind me. I'm not running anywhere close to that. His nickname is White Lightning.
I don't think the wind, albeit helpful, it wasn't making an extra second knocked off. It's just tenths of a second is my guess.
Oh, and that's the funny thing with the wind and with the 100 meter and how close the times are. His wind legal personal best is 10.22.
That's
So
still pretty good.
less than a half second slower. Like it's still blazing fast. I want no part of racing this guy.
It seems too scientific to write it all that way. Anyway, shout out to him, man.
Yep.
That's a hell of a run.
Yeah.
That is a.
He's from Houston. He's going to the University of Georgia.
All right, all right. Well, yeah, no, I don't think that's the last we've heard of him. Is he purely does he say he's just a pure track athlete, or maybe he's a is he like a football player maybe or something else? Can you do something else?
All I'm seeing is track. He also completed in the long jump, and he won the long jump at 25 feet 2 inches, and was also, as you know, with track, he was a member of the 4x1 and the 4x4 meter relays.
Damn. All right. All right. Well, I mean, we both ran track. I feel like we get it. You kind of had to do it to guys understand and to kind of appreciate just how crazy fast that is, especially at that age. You wouldn't even notice it. I feel like at that age, it was really just like, all right, we got the points. He won the first place category. I don't think anyone was like, oh, he ran an incredible time. It's just that much better than everyone. Because it team wise, it didn't do him, and it didn't do anything more by beating everybody with that much. It was the same amount of points, kind of added to the score. But while we're on the topic of students here, there's a Massachusetts student that's got some crazy 3D crosswalk idea for safety. Now I know in like Boston they have like these underground tunnels things. Is that kind of the idea here? Is this supposed to be for?
No, this is more artwork.
Oh, all right. So what
So
do they mean by 3D crosswalk exactly? Because I think I'm in 3D right now. Is he in another reality?
So this was an idea that two 10-year-olds in Medford, Mass, thought up. By one of them had a near running, literally with a car, and thought like, hey, how can we get an idea to slow cars down? So if you are picturing yourself driving on the road towards a crosswalk, the rectangles that's what just they are. They're white rectangles on the ground. Well, the way that they draw the rectangles onto the ground, they draw them in 3D. So if you're driving up, it looks like there are blocks in the road until you get close, and then you realize, oh, that's just a painting. It's an optical illusion, sort of similar to the way when you're driving and you see a slow sign, it looks normal, but if you're walking and you see the slow sign, it's all dragged out. So it's a artist optical illusion to hopefully slow cars down for when they're coming to crosswalks.
No, I kind of like the idea. I don't know if there's something there. I don't know if that's the complete solution, but I think something along that sort of philosophy sounds like it would be productive. Sounds like it would be the proper change for it. I'm seeing a lot more of the light up crosswalks now, but you can't have those anywhere, and I'm sure that's within a budget of the city or the town or campus or whatever it's on. That may not just be an option for everybody. So this sounds a little bit more affordable. Some artwork should be a lot cheaper than electric installation of any lights or anything else like that.
Especially out here with plows and I know that a lot of those light ups they work at first, but especially with snow, the snow sets the sensors off, or the plow just hits over them, and then they're kind of destroyed after not too long. So have something a little more permanent that you'll have to repaint, like you said. Paint not nearly as expensive.
Oh no! Shout out to the Medford boys. I'm giving them a Tommy point. Is that right?
It just says students. I don't know if it was male or female. It could be two smart girls. What I didn't like when I first heard about it and saw it was I just thought they meant like any crosswalk. And so I'm just thinking, I'm driving, at nighttime, and all of a sudden you come around a turn, you think there's something in the road, and you're slamming on the brakes, and you're creating more of an issue. But as I read more into the article, this was specifically right around elementary schools, like in the school's pickup zone area. So really no reason for you to be going at any sort of speed at all. And then I was completely on board with the idea.
Is that what the future is though? At some point, you think, where there's an actual like virtual reality, like stop sign, like it just shows up, like there's nothing actually there. It's almost like a ghost stop sign, that appears visually right in front of the middle of the road. Is that
That
the
is
future of
possible.
crosswalks?
I guess it might be. I'm wondering if the answer is no, only because we'll get self-driving cars before that.
That also, yeah, that sounds like an easier solution.
And so you wouldn't need both of them. And just with the self-driving cars ahead, it makes more sense they're going to focus on that rather than making augmented reality glasses and having that pop up instead of a stop sign being there all the time.
Yeah, no, that sounds. I can't wait for self-driving cars. That's going to be awesome. I'm really hoping that is part of a larger portion of our lifetime. I don't know if it will be, but I feel like it will
Elon
happen.
Musk said next year.
Well, all right, that's
I'm pretty sure he said 20. Because he said 2020.
yeah. Well,
And because when I first heard that, I was like, oh yeah, 2020. You know, way in the future. And then it's like 2020 is next year.
well, some people will have the option of having it. I just in our lifetime, hopefully, it'll become the norm, and that's going to take some time for both like pricing and just affordability and production, and then just coordinating everything. Like there's so much that
Having
needs
people
to.
getting comfortable with it.
Yeah, there's going to be.
Anytime you get into a car and you're in the driver's seat, you're focusing and you should be focusing, and you're in charge of a lot of aspects of it. To get in with no one being in charge except for the car, I definitely don't think I'm taking it out onto the highway the first time.
Well, the one thing I heard about the Teslas is that they're just having a hard time yielding on left turns right now, which makes total sense because that's not there's no mathematical decision there. It's a different decision every single time. It's based on something else. You can't base it on traffic flow. You're basing it on what car's coming. You know, it's not a statistical kind of thing. Like there has to be sensors on top of that. That I don't know how you really you need a mind to do that. Do you not? I mean, I guess if we get rid of just all yielding left turns, that kind of is the solution if everything's just on an arrow. But I heard that is kind of the one thing that's holding things up, is you either then rewind and change all stoplights, or you figure out a way to make that work.
Only right-hand turns. It's the most efficient way.
Yeah, that's like the UPS way, right? Isn't that, I feel like that's a clickbait article right there, and at least I've clicked on it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's still the case, but that was definitely a few years ago was the big breakthrough, finding out to take more or to all right-hand turns.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the big breakthrough, this show's been on for a while. Certainly a lot longer than the podcast, but let's talk let's talk a little bit about this Jeopardy run right now. You got the guy's name or the winner's name, and a little bit of his stat sheet of what's on his resume right now. You got some info for us?
Yep. So the reigning Jeopardy champion, his name is James Holzer. He is a 34-year-old professional sports gambler. He's on an 18-day winning streak right now. He's up to $1.3 million so far. To give you kind of a range, the guy Ken Jennings, who set the record, won 74 games straight. So not even in the neighborhood of that to right now.
Damn.
But he took home $2.5 million. That was his final number. So James is already halfway to catching Ken's overall earnings, and the reason is because for the majority of the time when he gets the daily double, and he gets 83% of the daily doubles that are available, basically just doubles down.
He puts everything in.
What he's been able to do on top of that is, I'm assuming everyone kind of knows how Jeopardy works. It's the trivia. They give you the clue. You have to answer you have to ask the question. So it's a little backwards, a little wrinkle from, I guess, a normal trivia game. But if you ask, you get one question right, and then you hit the daily double, you can only wager so much. So you really don't want to find the daily doubles right away, but you do want to find them before your opponent gets to it. So he's been able to hit more of that sweet spot. And so if he stays on his current track, he will surpass Ken's winnings on his 34th game.
God damn.
Well, like I said, it took Ken Jennings 74 games. Yeah, he's just been killing it. It's not very often that Jeopardy comes up, but when a guy like this, there's just been some crazy stats. It's like his average wins right now are like hundreds of dollars short of the previous like top 5 like records for days. So he's almost winning more on average than other people like best day and Jeopardy. So it's pretty unreal.
Yeah, good. I mean, good for him. Although I suppose somebody that's already a professional gambler, of course they would be good at this. I feel like they realize the optimal way to play and how to make the most money possible, and obviously they have some pretty strong background in just Jeopardy knowledge to begin with. So, good for him. I kind of wish I had those kind of abilities, and I think that's the most frustrating thing about Jeopardy is that it's not really. There's nothing holding back anybody from being good at this. It's just nobody took the time to kind of educate themselves on everything. Like, these people, I give them credit for just retaining a bunch of knowledge and being able to, play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Well, just the combination of you have to know the answer and buzz in faster than 2 other people who have also been training for this, and then on top of it, know where to pick on the board, as well as not to freeze up, not to panic. I don't know how. I think there's a live audience. I don't. Obviously, I haven't been watching the show a whole bunch, but you see NFL coaches that are professionals just making mistakes with clock management, and just I could see just you get jammed up. All of a sudden, there's a bunch of money involved, and you make one little mistake, and you really can't. You have to be focused for days on end and keep doing the right things. So just to be that mentally tough is just also part of it too. Yeah.
Well, shout out to the guy. Are you rooting for him, or are you hoping the other guy does it? Part of me doesn't really want him to get it. Is that wrong? Is that sort of wrong?
No, I want him to get it.
You want him to
I want him to just shatter the record. Yeah.
Oh man, but it's gonna change the game. He's gonna revolutionize everything. It's maybe a little too much for me. You know what? But I wish him some luck. I won't be rooting for him, but I wish him luck. Well, that's about to wrap up our whole hour here of the podcast. I want to remind everybody again to go check out lcalcb.com. Check us out on YouTube as well as every other podcast platform. We should be on Spotify, Google Plus Music, iTunes. We're on it all. So go listen to us on there, share it on there. You should be able to find us on Facebook as well. And anything else you got really to add here? What do you want to talk any more topics? Otherwise, I'm going to play the music and get us out.
Celtics looked real good in the first game. Looked really not so good last night, and I'm excited for a 8:00 start on Friday night in Boston.
Can't wait for the C's. We got some money on that game. What was that? It was 100 down for what? 550, right? 1 for 5.5.
We got it 6-1 for the Pats, or not the Pats, for the C's to win the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'm excited for it. I like our odds. We just got to get through Milwaukee. Just get through Milwaukee. I mean, Giannis. If Giannis is gonna hit threes, though, I'm not gonna even feel bad about losing. I'm just gonna be like, all right, well, that guy's really good now, and that's not even a newsflash. I just think everyone's starting to realize just how good he can be. So exciting for all that. I'm also super excited. I'm loving me some Dame Lillard, man. Dame Dollar. Whew, man. I think that's the best basketball you can watch right now. Go watch Denver, Portland. It's the must-watch series. I think Milwaukee, Boston is great too, but I think that's the must-watch one. So stay up late, take a nap. All you East Coast listeners out there, stay up for some of these West Coast games. You're missing some good ones, but skip the Golden State one and Houston one. And nobody wants to watch a bunch of crybabies. Or maybe that's just me. I feel like I get stuck watching them all the time. But we'll be back next week and tune in this weekend to see me dressed up as Jackie Moon, playing pickup basketball and handing out corn dogs. Corn dogs for everybody. We'll be back.
little column A, little column B.